gamers. Today I wanted to give an example of how you can still get lucky when searching for games online. The example that I'm using is my Nintendo DS copy of Puyo Pop Fever, which is an Atlus release published in the United States. It is a game that I had on my radar for quite a long time. I'd never seen a listing in the UK, or at least I didn't come across one when it was listed. The games that I saw listed were primarily in the United States or in Canada. The price was always around about $50 to $60, including the shipping price as well. So to import this game, I would have been looking at paying roughly about 50 to 60 UK pounds. And just didn't want to do that. I kept it on my list. It would have been the case that eventually I would have picked this up if I had no other choice. However, recently, and this has happened a few times, I've been very fortunate the last year or so, I saw a copy of Puyo Pop Fever listed on eBay, the UK eBay site. And I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it listed. It was listed in an auction and also had a buy it now price of £9, including postage. And I just hit buy it now straight away because I knew what I was looking at. I knew what it meant to me anyways. It might not be the case that it is that important to somebody else. However, people tend to know what Atlus games are these days. People tend to know that they are quite sought after, depending on the game as well. There are some very low priced Atlus games still out there, but a lot of them you are going to pay inflated prices. Either this seller didn't realize what they had or didn't care what they had, or another reason it was listed at the price that it was listed, and to me that was like finding gold. So I bought it and here it is in the collection. And I'm going to give a little read of the back of the game to give you an idea of what it is. Actually, before we get to that, I just want to say, if you are coming back and watching these videos regularly and you see something in the collection that you want us to pull out next, then stick it in the comment. Not just with the Atlus games, but also with all of the other games that I showed in my updated collection video. I'll be happy to do that. So looking at the back, Puyo Pop Fever, what can you expect? Do you ever have the fever? Multiple gameplay modes to suit your moods, including a story mode, touchscreen control, 8-player puzzle madness with single card download play. Puyo Pop is one of the most successful fall-in piece puzzle games ever conceived, and that tells you exactly what type of game this is. I have played a version of Puyo Pop Fever. I think it might have been possibly an arcade version. I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure I've played this on an arcade emulator on my original Xbox in the past. What I can tell you about it anyways is that it's pretty much in the vein of Tetris. It's that style of puzzle drop game where pieces are falling and you have to try and fit them into place in order to win the... I'm just going to go back to it a second. I believe you're playing against other people in this one. Yeah, so win the opponent. There are a few different examples of that type of game, like the Street Fighter puzzle game. That's a similar sort of game to this one as well. So that is it for Puyo Pop Fever. Short and sweet. I will pull out a few more examples in other videos of Atlus games that I managed to pick up for relatively low prices. One of the things I'll say before I sign off on this one is that my experience has been that during the pandemic, as I've already said, prices for video games in general went up. Atlus games in particular, prices just went through the roof. Some of those haven't come back down, some of them are still climbing, but some of them, and I don't know if this is anything to do with what came after the pandemic, which was the cost of living crisis, prices going up, people being robbed left, right and centre. We'll say no more about that. And maybe just having to sell off their collections and take whatever price they could get for games that they've been collecting. I'm just taking a guess. I'm just throwing stuff out there because I don't know unless I actually speak to people about it. But whatever the reason being, prices did come down for a lot of games and I capitalized on it. I'm not going to lie about it. I was very happy about that because there was lots of Atlus games that I still hadn't ticked off the list of ones that I wanted. And I was holding out because wherever possible, I do not want to pay high prices. I want to pay the lowest price possible, not just because I might sell them later on for a higher price, but simply because, you know, I've got limited funds. I don't have an unlimited pot of money for buying the games that I want to, and that's often the reason why I sell other games to buy the Atlus games that I'm more interested in owning and playing. Bye for now. I will catch you in the next one.